Hi everyone, I hope you're all really well. I thought I'd come on to introduce my first ever special episode. Not only is this my first out of season installment, but it's with my first ever sports star. Oh, and it's in honour of the huge Super Bowl weekend. I'm joined by Jason Bell, the ex-NFL star who has played for the New York Giants amongst other teams. We cover it all, the relationship between sport and food, the mental health implications when retiring from the sporting world, why peanut butter sandwiches are so important to him, and his predictions for Sunday's game. So, grab your Super Bowl grub, a keg of beer, and enjoy this very fun special episode ahead of this weekend's big game. I am so excited to be partnering up with Gorillas again this season. The original sexy grocery delivery app is revolutionizing online shopping. Fresh food delivered to your door in minutes, catering to all your food needs. Operating in 9 countries around the world, Gorillas supports small businesses as well as local producers to bring your favorite brands to your door. Run out of wine during the dinner party? Gorillas can sort that. Run out of eggs for your Sunday morning pancakes? Gorillas can also sort that. Don't believe me when I say how great they are? Then download their app and get £10 off your first order when you spend £20. Use the code SEXY10 at checkout and thank me later. Hello and welcome to the Crazy Sexy Food Podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Harley-Young. This podcast is all about the love of food and how it plays a part in our lives. I sit down with well-known personalities, food experts, chefs, and people who just love their food to find out all about their life, career, and their favourite tastes along the way. Today I'm joined by my first ever sportsman. Finally, Jason Bell played for the NFL, most notably for the New York Giants, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Houston Texans. He played football at college for UCLA, which in American speak is a hugely prestigious opportunity as a young adult. Born in California, he's currently in the UK where he fronts the NFL show on the BBC, as well as hosting his own podcast, the Jason and OC podcast, with fellow ex-NFL player OC Umeniora. Not only am I excited to delve into the mind of a sportsman, but I get a real-life American footballer to tell me all about how food plays a part through an incredibly competitive sport. And I get to hear all about his thoughts on this year's big Super Bowl weekend. Jason, welcome to Crazy Sexy Food.
Thank you very much. I love the title, Crazy Sexy Food. It is awesome. So I appreciate this. This is going to be cool.
Oh, thank you so much. So, Jason, where are you? Where are we recording from? We're in the UK, but whereabouts?
I'm in London,
Nice.
North London, holding it down.
And are you here? Is this your permanent home now? Or are you sort of back and forth from America?
You know what? This is pretty much my home. As long as they still allow me to be here, I'm going to stay. I am back and forth, but I spend 90% of my time here in the UK.
Nice. And I in a bit I am going to be asking you a little bit about what you miss in America food-wise, but I always start my conversations with, what did you have for breakfast today?
Oh, today was work day, work grind. So eggs and a smoothie. That was how I rolled this morning.
And what's your preference on how your eggs are?
It all depends on who's cooking them. If I'm cooking them, however they turn out. If there's other people, I can ask for a little specialty kind of situation, but it all depends on who's processing this. So I don't have the skills. I got the taste buds, but I don't got the skills.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, listen, I want to take it back to your childhood a bit. You were born in Long Beach, California. I want to know what life was like growing up. What were you eating? Who was cooking? Did food play a part in your life? Like, was it important?
Oh, it was huge. Long Beach is a very multicultural city, which allowed me to basically try all different types of food. And that's how I got to know a lot of my friends, is because of the food we ate. And when I would visit their homes. And in my home upbringing, my grandmother was a big cook. And when she was alive, I mean, everything was surrounding the dinner table. and all the conversations were in the kitchen while the cooking was happening. So I have a great relationship with food because of all of the memories that come with it.
And can you give me some kind of like idea of some of the dishes that I guess remind you of your childhood?
Oh, wow. I think really a lot of holiday dishes, like we call it dressing. So, I mean, anything around Christmas, Thanksgiving, things of that nature, I always remember because I just always remember my grandmother cooking. She was, I was really close with her, and I was young when she passed away. But I just remember her cooking. It was the first time she could cook a pizza from scratch. It was just that
Right.
kind of
Okay.
stuff. So,
Yeah.
all of the things that involved her um, around the holidays is what I really remember.
And I mean, I guess this is a bit of an obvious question. I mean, you know, becoming a football player and actually succeeding in it is and requires huge dedication. But was football always the dream growing up? Like, was that what you wanted to do and you were going to go and get it?
It was a dream because as a kid, who doesn't want to play the sport they're passionate about as a job? Who doesn't want that? And so, yeah, it was a dream, but I always tell people I never skipped a step. And what I mean by that is I never thought when I first started playing, at 12 years old, that I wanted to go pro. I just wanted to go to the next level. So I wanted to be good at my school team. Then I wanted to go to college. And then after
Mm.
college, I was like, I want to keep doing this. And to do this, I got to play professionally. So that's how I always thought about it. Being a pro wasn't the end goal, being involved with the game was.
And I guess like when you're in it, you're obviously thinking about the next steps, but you're enjoying what you're doing so much. Like as you said, when you were playing at school, you then wanted to play at college, and then when you got to college, you were like, well, I'm doing what I wanted to do however many years ago. So like, what's next, kind of thing. And I love stories like this. And obviously in the run up to this chat, I have done a little bit of American football research. And I mentioned in the intro that, playing for your high school or playing for your college in America is hugely, hugely prestigious. And you then went on to play for some of the biggest, most globally renowned teams in the world, such as the New York Giants, the Dallas Cowboys. What was like each experience like with each team? You're in a completely different state. I can imagine being in New York was very different to being in Texas. What can you remember from those times?
It was different, but the thing that made it very similar and why it worked is I had a team. In each of these situations, regardless of where I was, I had a group of people that I could attach myself to. In a room of people, I could find 10 or 15 new friends. I had this
Mm.
pool of people that I think is a unique experience. So even though the cities are different, I could plug in because of that locker room. And that's what made it so fun. Like you said, going to New York was a lot different than being in Texas. But when I first got there, I knew a friend I grew up with that played on the team who guided me in the city. And he was like, this is what you have to do. Follow my lead. These are the things you need to do and that are necessary to survive in New York. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's what made it, it made it so welcoming and comforting and not as scary. A lot of times I would say a lot of people make decisions in life and they truly are alone out there, but in sports, you're not.
So true, actually. So true. Wouldn't have even thought about that because obviously I am not a professional sportsman. But anyway, I think one of the other things I'm really interested with, especially with something like the NFL that is so globally known, is there must be so much pressure on you as a player. And I know that you're working within a team, but all of you are sort of like playing for like, you become one essentially. Do you guys I can't imagine, back when you were playing, I mean, it wasn't a crazy long time ago. Are you guys offered things like psychological support and, like, do you get all of those little bits as well along the way?
Yes, I think now especially. So each team I was on, we had a lot of support, and I was lucky because of that. And they know, and the NFL understands that the better you are as a person, you're probably going to perform better. And they care about you as an individual. So for the most part, everything you needed, it was there. Those resources were there in my experience. And now it's even better. And even now that I retired, there's a lot of options and things that are available if I need it. Players are very aware of the pressures that they have to deal with on and off the field. And it's okay to go out there and try to find whatever resource you need to make sure you solve those personal issues you have. It just makes you a better human, which is what it's all about. And especially when you're on that team environment, trying to get on the same page for that year. Because remember, you have 1 year for everybody to get on the same page for this common goal. You got to become a family in 1 year. It is very intense. So they provide everything necessary to make that possible.
And then kind of like linking it back to the food, I want to know what your diet is like when you're in the absolute thick of like football season. You know, how strict do you guys need to be? Because listen, I know enough about American football, but I'm no expert. But you guys, majority of you, I would say, are quite big. You know, it's not like you're kind of like our soccer players in the UK who are actually quite lean. And like quite a lot of them are actually quite small guys in person. You know, how was your diet?
The one beautiful thing about the NFL and American football is there is a position for every size. And because of that, people eat different. So you have to understand your body, and that's the key. I was a guy who needed to gain weight and put on weight and maintain weight. I burned a lot of calories and I would lose so much weight in the season. So my diet was set up where I had to consume a ton of calories or else I would get too light. And if I got too light, I would get pushed around. That's the reverse for other players. Other players, maybe they could gain weight. They had to watch their weight, so they had to consume less calories. So it was all based on what you needed to do as an individual, and kind of they provided you with the resources to understand that. We would get weighed on Fridays, and we made sure we were where our allocation was. Guys would get fined if they were too big. I got fined because I was too small. I was too little. Yeah, it was a team I played for. The coach was like, I can't have you this small. You got to, I had a 5-pound kind of window where, I knew how to make sure I had those 5 pounds. But yeah, it's based on the individual. But I will say the best players I've ever been around are ones who treat their diet as serious as anything else. What they consume is the most important thing. That is what allows them to play long. It keeps inflammation down and it keeps their performance up, all the positive things. So diet nutrition is number one.
So give me an example of like what the average day was for you at the height of sort of playing.
So during the season, I would say I probably left my house around 6 a.m., 6:30. Got to first meeting at 7. And meetings pretty much all day. You're on the field for about an hour and a half. You're in the weight room for about an hour. But most of the day is set in a meeting room going over tactics. So, at that time, you know how to snack right, you know how to stay hydrated, all those kind of things. But we spent a lot of time watching tape. I didn't leave the facility probably till around 7 at night. And I was there all day getting everything. I was the kind of person got it all done there. And the best players I've been around, our quarterback who won 2 Super Bowls, he was there before everybody. And when I was leaving, he was still there. He was still there.
Love that. That's insane. And so like, give me an example of like the meals you were eating, because you're saying that like you need to put weight on, but it's not as simple as saying like, oh, I'm just going to go and eat a few pizzas. Or is it,
No.
You've got to be very clever about it, right? We're not saying that you need to like eat junk food.
Right. Yeah. Well, it got lucky when I got to Houston, and that team, it was the first year of the team they had started. And it was the first time I was introduced to the whole cafeteria model. Now every team has personal chefs and all that kind of stuff in there. But when I got to Houston, they had that. So everything was right there in front of you. You were picking healthy foods. So it was whatever you wanted was right. You didn't have to think about it. So, I knew for me, personally, I had to eat a lot of protein, but I kind of chilled out on the carbs, but a lot of
Mm.
greens. That really worked for me, and I figured that out about myself. But I had a trick on game day, which was peanut butter sandwiches. And a friend of mine told me how peanut butter was this pure carbohydrate type thing. I didn't even understand it, but he was right. I used to spend so much time, eating steak and all these carbs, getting ready for a game. If I ate two peanut butter sandwiches, no jelly, just peanut butter, that sustained me for the entire game. I don't know why it worked.
That, do you know what? That doesn't surprise me because I'm just gonna like boast a little bit. My only like touch at anything overly sporty that I can be proud of is that I ran the London Marathon a few years ago. And I know that if any of my friends are going to listen to this, they're going to be crying with laughter because I made such a big deal about it because it was so big for me. But do you know what my race day meal was? It was peanut butter on toast. That was the only thing that I could eat because not only did it like it's slow releasing energy, right? So it doesn't make you feel bloated. It doesn't like
Yes,
mess with your stomach. It's just there. And also it's weirdly filling as well.
exactly. That's the same thing. And that was the point of, I'm glad you brought that up because, you know, you have nerves before any kind of performance.
Yeah.
So you want your stomach to be relaxed. And that's right. It doesn't feel, you don't get bloated, anything. You're like, you know what? I can go conquer all. I mean, I do it sometimes when I have a long show. I know it works for
Yeah.
me. It's still one of my secrets. I'm giving away the goods right
I know. I'm going to start doing what you do now.
now. All you need is that toast and peanut butter. You'll be good to go.
Absolutely. And then something that I really am interested in, kind of on the flip side, because we're quite a big boxing household over here. So my
Mm,
husband is really into boxing and UFC and things like that. And I'm always interested in when boxers retire and what
mm.
happens to their bodies. Now, when you did retire, how did that affect not only, I guess, your mental state, but also your diet? Because suddenly you weren't burning all those crazy calories every day. Did you have to massively adjust how you were eating to sort of then not sort of go the absolute other way?
Wow. You know what? You're absolutely. This is so important because when you retire, you have to get mentally ready for a few things. Uh, you got to understand there's going to be a level of depression because a part of you is dying, right? So you get ready for what's next. But in that same phase, you need to take care of yourself as far as diet and nutrition are concerned, especially in that first year because
Mm,
everything's changed. The way you have lived your life, your entire life is now changed in a year. And I'd say the biggest guys have the best habits to me because those guys they understand they are carrying so much unnecessary weight. You see them get skinny in a year. I mean, they don't even look the
wow.
same, a lot of them. You look at your former teammates and you're like, wow, you lost 80 pounds. So for me it was the same way. I said, okay, I gotta lose. And I had an injury too, a back injury. So a
Mm,
lot of the just the over the muscles I had were giving causing me pain, so I had to lose a lot of the muscle and diet in a way that worked. So I was very tough on my diet that first year and how I ate because, to be honest, all I used to do is consume as much calories as possible. I used to eat so fast, and it was a terrible habit. I had to unlearn that because
mm.
that was not how I was going to sustain through the rest of my life. So that was really tough to do. I never even thought about that until you said that, and how hard that was
Yeah.
that first year, just changing my eating habits.
Well, it's kind of like, I mean, I'm sorry, I hate to bring it back to my marathon running career that lasted all of 5 months, but even when I stopped training with my running and I was still eating the same way that I was eating whilst I was doing all this running every week, I put weight on because of course I was going to. I wasn't running 40 kilometers every week anymore. And then on like a much more serious level, as I mentioned, you see it with boxers a lot of the time, with boxers, you can imagine the amount that they're training on a day-to-day basis, and then they suddenly stop. And it's like, I guess your body kind of goes into a bit of shock.
Yeah, their relationship with food in their body is different too because they're cutting weight. So when you
Yeah.
have to do those extremes, it's a lot different. And you see
Yeah.
a lot of people in fight sports that happens to them.
Mm.
You see a lot of college wrestlers and things like that. I mean, they're constantly, I've never had that problem. And I could imagine all of a sudden, okay, you got to lose 15, 20, 30 pounds. Like, that's crazy. But that's what they do. So you could
Yeah.
imagine
Yeah.
when they retire and they're not going through that cycle, how difficult that is.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are in the final days of probably biggest, the biggest sports date of the calendar year. I mean,
You're right.
what amazes me about Super Bowl weekend is that it, for me anyway, as someone from England, it is for me like the only date in the sports calendar that I think just like is so global on such a serious level. Why do you think that is? Because for people that might not know, what is the importance of this like major event?
Well, of course, I'm biased, but you got the best sport in the world, right? the I would say the most diverse group of athletes on any field that's ever existed. There's no other sport where that many body types and skill sets are on the same field.
Mm.
People that can throw, people that can kick, people that can hit, people that are big, physical, strong. Doesn't exist in any other sport. And you basically have the best of the best players, but the best teams. And as I said earlier, each year is so different.
Mm.
Nothing else matters except that year. Who can get on the same page? Who could be at their best at the end? And we get to watch that. And the players on the field, as a player, I'm telling you, you understand like your destiny and legacy is right there in front of you. Like they're thinking that. So fans who love the teams, they're thinking that. The players are thinking that. Everybody knows what's online, which makes for a great event every single year.
I just feel like there's something about the patriotism of like American football that we don't really like. We have it in the UK, obviously, like the Premiership is so big. But I feel like with you guys, when you have certain teams playing, it's like the whole everyone's coming out for it. Whereas I think with the UK, because within each sort of sector of the country you have like a few teams, there's
Yes.
so many politics, everyone's divided, right? If you're in North London, everyone's fighting each other. Like, it's such a different atmosphere, and I kind of like what you guys have because it brings a whole community together.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter where you're from in the country, you can choose your team. You
Yeah.
can be a kid from California like I was that fell in love with the New York Giants because that was the first team I watched. I grew up a Giants fan, had
Mm.
no business being a Giants fan, but I loved them because when I got introduced to the game, they were doing well. And for the rest of my life, I have been a Giants fan.
So that was your childhood team.
Yes, my neighbor who got me involved with the game, they were Giants fans, and I was going to their house watching the games, and that's when it all happened.
So how did it feel when you finally managed to like play for them? That's like huge.
Oh, very strange. Yeah. Last team I played for and the first team I ever played for. I have a picture
That's
in here.
incredible.
The first team was the Giants, and I was 14 years old or 13, and the last team was the Giants. Yeah, just sometimes when
Wow.
I think about it, it scares me, you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, you're
yeah,
just like, did
that's
that actually happen?
did that happen? And just like that.
So where are you going to be watching the game?
Well, I'll be here broadcasting live for the BBC. So yeah, I'll be back here doing it. So I'll be watching it with everybody else in this country, having a great time, trying to keep everybody up and motivated. So I'm trooping
Fabulous.
with my troops.
And if you are allowed, what are your predictions? I mean, full disclosure, we are recording before we actually know who the final teams that are going to be
Yeah,
playing on Sunday. But what are your predictions for the final? Who do you think is going to make it?
you know, I would love for the Los Angeles Rams because it's in LA to
Yeah.
play. I would love for them to play against the Kansas City Chiefs. But that would be my number one. If that happens,
Okay.
I'm cool.
Do you know what? If you've predicted this and this is right, please remember this moment next Sunday, okay?
Hey, we're gonna both look like geniuses.
Literally.
Well,
I mean, the other big thing that I can't not talk about when we talk about the Super Bowl, and for people who may just not be into sports, the biggest sort of other sort of cultural part of it is obviously the halftime show.
oh yeah.
Now, I am so excited about this year, may I just say. I don't know why, I only just found out a couple of days ago who's doing it. I think it's like Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Eminem. You've got like everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, that is going to be
Lamar,
insane.
Mary J. Blige.
Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my God, like my whole teenage, like childhood, whatever is like going to be like facing me. So who's been your favorite halftime show performer?
Oh, wow. I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to be this year. Just because I'm a West Coast guy. You know, I'm from LA. So I'm from Long Beach. This is Snoop Dogg. You know, he's our everything. So I'm all about it. I'm very excited for this year. I mean, each year I'm happy. It's always a great performance. It's always a show. I mean, it's an amazing experience to just witness it, because just like the players on the field feel that pressure, those performers up there are giving it their all. So it's going to be super cool. But this one, it's going to be the best, hands down. Just watch it for that.
No, I mean, look, I'm just going to watch it all, because now that I've met you, I feel like I owe that to the world, that I am going to watch the whole thing. So I'm in it for the long run. But I have to just say that
you're a food expert. Like this is the mecca of all food, the Super Bowl. Like people are showing out on a Super Bowl party. They are bringing out the goods.
Oh, well, that brings me on to my next question, which is I know you're broadcasting, but what are you going to be eating when you do have a break?
I'm going to try to stay. I'm going to try to eat healthy because I need my energy. But if I was at a party, if I was at a Super Bowl party, there would be a plate of chicken wings so high that people would look at me and think, what has he ever eaten before? Like, this is just, he is over here disrespecting himself. And it would be like that. I mean, I would eat so many wings, pizza, of course. I take the cheese off because I'm lactose intolerant. Just sharing information nobody needs to know.
Do you know what? I'm so sorry about that.
It's okay. You can't win at everything, right?
No, well, exactly.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean,
can we add some nachos to that as well? I'd like
nachos
some nachos with some dip. Okay, cool.
It's a must. Everything is there.
And what are we drinking? Are we drinking beer?
Whatever floats your boat. It's available. Okay. That's the beauty of Super Bowl.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay. I might sip tequila.
Necessary. I mean, this is perfectly acceptable. Like, yes.
Okay, cool. So basically anything goes. That's it. Just anything goes, whatever.
Bring your best. It's the Super Bowl.
Cool.
They're bringing their best on the field. You bring your best off the field.
Fine. Well, that's my role, because I know I'm definitely not on the field. Bringing it a little bit back to the food. First of all, can you cook?
I'm a survival cook.
What does that mean?
That means I will survive. I won't force anybody to eat my food, but I will not go hungry.
So what is it? Why can't you cook? Or why are you a survival cook?
I'm surrounded by people that are great cooks. Surrounded.
Fair.
And they love cooking. So it's I'm a good guinea pig. I eat all the food. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of what it is. And I've learned things, and I have things that I want to do that I can cook. But yeah, I leave that to the pros.
Yeah. No, you know your place.
Yeah, I'm not great at it. I cooked stuff and then ate it, and I would not subject anybody to this.
Right. Okay.
So yeah,
we'll leave that there. What do you miss food-wise that you can't get here in the US? Any certain
Whew,
snacks that you love?
probably like real authentic Mexican tacos. Like I love tacos, and
Yeah.
where I am in California.
I was just about to
Uh,
say you come from
yeah,
California, right?
yeah. Even when I went to Texas and they had Tex-Mex, it was a whole different, taste and
Hmm.
flavor. So that's what I really miss that.
And when you do have some time off, where are some of your favorite restaurants?
Ooh, my favorite restaurants in London or in the
Yeah,
world.
sure. And let's do London for now.
There's this place, Cove Club. Cove. Oh, I think it got a couple Michelin stars. It was
Is
really.
it called? Is it called Clove Club?
I think
Is it
so.
Clove
I don't
or
know.
Cinnamon Club?
No, but that sounds great too. There's a place called Black Axe that was by Arsenal Stadium.
Oh my God,
Amazing.
Black Axe Mangal.
Yes.
I'm desperate to go there. It's on my
Wow.
list. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Heavy.
Okay.
Really enjoyed that.
You just mentioned Arsenal. Does that mean that you're an Arsenal fan?
No, it does not mean that. But
Good.
I have been to a lot of Arsenal games. I am a North London fan. No, like
Okay. Oh,
I'm a Tottenham fan, but
are
the first
you?
game I ever went to was an Arsenal game, and
Okay.
I've been to
So
many.
you are a Spurs fan.
I am. Yeah.
Okay. My dad would be very happy to hear that.
See, your dad's cool. That's what's up. That
Except
is what's up.
I then married an Arsenal fan, so it didn't go down so well.
Listen, you have to diversify. That's all you're doing. Diversification.
No, it's too political. It's too political. So I always end my conversations with a few quick fire questions. Here we go.
Cool.
What is the craziest food you've ever eaten?
Chitlins,
What?
pig intestine. Yes, it's a southern dish in America.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, yeah. Don't eat them.
What's it like? No?
It'll smell your whole house up. Yeah,
No.
yeah.
Okay, not for me.
Don't do it.
Wow,
No.
you're brave. What has been your most memorable meal?
You know what? I remember vividly. Wow, you bring me back. When after my daughter was born, everybody was so exhausted, and I remember coming back and eating, and it was Chinese food, and because nobody wanted to cook, and it was so good. But it's tied to my daughter's birth, so I think that's why it's like
I love
there.
that. I
Yeah.
love that. Oh, that's very nostalgic.
My
Okay.
chef was out of commission, so it was and I wasn't gonna cook.
No. Okay, so my favorite snack of all time is a packet of crisps, which for all the Americans out there is a packet of
Mm-hmm.
chips. What is your favorite flavor of crisps, chips, and why?
Crisp and chips. So definitely, probably barbecue chips, barbecue like
Okay.
Lay's chips. Yeah,
Okay. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
the
Okay,
barbecue.
fine. Got you. Got you.
Yeah. Just the barbecue flavor. They get kind of smoky, kind of.
Yeah.
That works for me.
Okay. I don't feel like because I know that Lay's equivalent in the UK is Walkers. I don't think Walkers do a barbecue flavor. They probably do like a roast beef flavor.
They do, and it's good. And it is nice. I've had it. I like it. Yes, really good.
Okay. He likes that real deep, deep taste.
Yeah,
What food sums up happiness for you?
probably Asian fusion.
Yes,
It's just never been bad.
I agree. Where's been some of the best places you've had Asian fusion food?
I will say, some of the real top fancy ones are cool, but most of them have been in New York City and just hole in the wall places. Like
Yeah.
just East Village. What is this place? Amazing.
Yeah, 100%. I couldn't agree more. Final question. Live to eat or eat to live?
Live to eat.
Hey, that's
Live to
my
eat.
guy.
Live to eat. Live to eat for sure.
Oh, Jason, thank you so much for joining me. I wish you all the best of luck for Super Bowl weekend. I will be tuning in. If your predictions are right, then you might have a new career as a psychic. You can follow Jason on social media at JasonBell33. Until next time.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in. If you love what you hear, please subscribe and review. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Crazy Sexy Food and check out the Crazy Sexy Food YouTube channel. Until next time, bye.